Welcome, everybody, to It Tastes Different in Gaming News. What's on the news today? Sony has submitted a PlayStation VR2 PC adapter. So this PC adapter, they submitted for certification in South Korea, not North, South. They like, cool stuff. As it looks to bring its virtual reality headset to more platforms. Spotted on Twitter, I'm not going to say X because that's stupid, by user Brad Lynch, a filing on the South Korean National Radio Research Agency website plainly lists the PlayStation VR2 PC adapter, but it doesn't offer any additional information. Sony has already announced plans to bring the headset to PC, however, and it may have found its solution to do so. So we're pleased to share that we are currently testing the ability of PSVR2 players to access additional games on PC to offer even more game variety, in addition to the PSVR2 titles available through both PS5. Sony said that in a February 2024. So it says, we hope to make this support available in 2024, so stay tuned for more updates. While the certification is far from an official announcement, it does indicate that Sony is on track to complete this plan to bring the PSVR2 to the PC by end of 2024. So right now the headset's $550, released exclusively for $500 on February 2023. So as everybody knows, the PlayStation VR2 headset has not boded well. It's not that it's a bad device. It's just an expensive device because you're not having to buy a PlayStation VR2. You're also having to have a PlayStation 5. So you're looking at, $1,100 to $1,200 for a virtual reality system when you can do much more, for less. So it is an interesting ideal to be able to, swap between your PS5 and your PC, which I think it would definitely be a boost for Sony. So now Nick and Patrick both have the Quest 3. I have a 2. Me and Nick both have a PSVR, but none of us have a VR2 because they're expensive and there's really not that many games out that I would love to play. So, Nick, what do you think? Do you think this is going to be the boost that Sony needs to have to be able to play PC games on their VR2?
Yeah, I think. We talked about this adapter before possibly coming out for the PSVR 2. I think this will definitely help them. I don't know if it'll help boost sales. It could. It very well could. You might have people that buy. It depends, right? It depends on what's required. So if the PSVR2 adapter comes out and I can go buy a PSVR2, and let's say I don't own a PlayStation, I have a computer and I want a VR headset, and I could go buy that, which is a high-end headset, $550, hook it up to my PC and play games on Steam that are VR, then great. But it depends, right? Does it require you to first hook it into a PlayStation before you could hook it into a PC, right? We don't know that, right? Because what was it? The PlayStation, I want to say the PlayStation 5 controllers. Now, I don't remember if they changed that or not, but I remember in order to sync those up with your PlayStation, you had to first hardwire them into the PlayStation in order to wirelessly sync them, and then you could unhook it, right? I think that's changed now. I think it's now you can do it wirelessly, but when they first came out, that's the only way you could get them to sync was to plug it in first, and then it would sync up. Even with updates, you had to plug it in to update the controller. I think now they do wireless updates on the controllers, but through a software update. But I'm just curious to see if PlayStation, when this adapter comes out, if it requires you to first hook it up to a PlayStation 5 for maybe updates and stuff, and then you can hook it up to a PC, right? And that would make it that would, for me, that would determine on whether or not they're going to get more, Sony's going to get more sales out of the PSVR2. If it comes to find out that you have to hook it into a PlayStation 5, maybe, so some people, they might have a friend or whatever they could hook it into and update it, and then they could hook it. But if it has to be your own, or, maybe it, I don't know, links up with the PlayStation so then it knows that that one's hooked to yours. And so if you try to plug it into a separate one, or try to plug in two into one device, it'll like freak out. Who knows, right? So it depends on how all that works. If I can go out and buy a PSVR 2 and just hook it straight to my PC, update it, and I'm good to go, then I think they will get, I don't think they'll get like, major like buku sales from it, but I think there will be people that will go out that don't have PlayStation 5s that might be interested in buying a $550 PSVR 2 to play VR games on their PC. Because that's, for a high-end VR headset, that would be the cheapest high-end headset that you could purchase for your PC, right? Now, if it requires you to still have a PlayStation, then it'll be great for the people that already own it, right? I don't think it's going to make people that don't have a PSVR 2 go out and buy one because this is available to them. But I think this will also help PlayStation as well. PlayStation VR 2, they did announce some new games coming to those, but those games, or at least one of them I know of, the new Aliens game is also coming to Meta Quest. And so again, I don't know how well the VR sales have done for them, but I know it didn't meet the expectations they were hoping for. So this is a good way for them to branch out and give the PlayStation users more access to more of a larger library, right? Without having to wait, because like, besides the new games they announced during the state of play that they had recently, like I don't know when the last PSVR 2 game came out. So it's like, if you have a PSVR 2, how long are you waiting between each release of a VR game on PlayStation, right? And that could really hurt PlayStation. That could really hurt people buying the headset. But if you can hook it up to the PC, which already has a ton of VR games, well, then it won't matter how long it is, right? You just play stuff on PC, then, oh, hey, PlayStation 5's got a new VR game. Cool. And then you can swap over to that, right? So you won't think about it as much, because if it's like 5-6 months before a VR game comes out on PS5, then that thing's just sitting there collecting dust more than likely until that game comes out. And if that game is if you're interested in that particular game, that comes to PSVR. So I think this will help them, especially with those people that already own a PSVR 2. And like I said, if you don't need a PlayStation 5 with this adapter, then that might help boost sales of people looking for a nice headset to play VR games on their PC.
Yeah, I don't think that you will be required to hook it to the PlayStation, primarily because that would almost defeat the point. But you'll most likely have to register it with PSN. So when you hook it up, you're going to have to go online and, XYZ the thing to the PlayStation network, which, some places aren't allowed to have and such. So the bonus is you are getting a high quality, because it is a high quality VR headset. That's not a question. The question that has kept it down primarily is the price, because of the console, and the fact that you have to be connected wired. That's another issue a lot of gamers have problems with. Quest 3, you don't have to connect it to your PC. You can if you want to run certain games, I think, right? You can get better graphics and such. So I personally like the idea of being able to play it on my PC. because I'm going to get a better experience because there's a lot more games. Now, the games are what's going to be the issue. So if this device, this dongle, adapter, whatever you want to call it, is it going to be, how is it? It's like Quest has certain games it could play, games designed for Quest. And then there's some PC games that will work for it, multiple games. So how is that going to work on the PC? Are you going to be able to go into your Steam library and just play any game? You're going to be able to play Vader Immortal, things like that. Those are the questions I have with it. And the fact that how much is this dongle device thing going to cost? Because one thing Sony is not is cheap. Sony does not do anything cheap. They will shoot themselves in the foot to make that extra buck. That is, that's my biggest problem. One of my biggest problems with Sony. So I do like the thought of being able to play VR2 though on my PC. I do Vader Immortal or what's the one that came out that was really popular a while back? I think you and Pat both played it too. Got really good reviews and such, but I like the idea of being able to play that, and especially in high quality with the haptic and all that stuff that Sony controllers offer. So I really like the ideals, but I have too many questions still. Is Sony gonna charge $100 for this device, this dongle or whatever? Then it's not worth it because then I'm out $500 for the headset. Another $100 for the damn dongle. I'd rather just get a Quest 3 and save $300. It's just too many questions. But I like the ideals. I like the ideals of being able to play it. Playing Half-Life Alyx would probably be really awesome on there, or anything on that website with the yellow and black with the girls. That would be awesome in VR too, but we're not allowed to discuss that. But I do like the ideal of it. Yeah, the cup. Oh God, first person. But the ideal is great, but I have a lot of questions. Mainly price to what games will and will not work with it. Is it going to be, set up to just play everything? I mean, how does that work? I don't, like we've said 1,000 times, I don't have a tech background. I just want to know how things work. So if they can make, these big PC games work on it though, that's great. Sony is leaning a little more into PC with their games. So I wonder if they're going to bring that Horizon VR game over, or was it Firewatch or Firefall or something like that? It was another pretty good PSVR game as well. So, a lot of questions, not enough answers in my opinion. So, but we're still 6 months out from the end of the year. So, maybe Sony will announce something. They just had their PlayStation State of Play the other day. Nothing was announced about it then, so they'll probably do one more around Gamescom time or the Japanese game show, which for some reason I cannot remember the name of that one. Show? Tokyo Game Show. Yeah, that was kind of racist saying Japanese. Tokyo Game Show. So maybe we'll hear something about it then. I think if Sony goes $100, they're shooting themselves in the foot and they're going to lose. They're going to lose the battle for that VR space. If they can do it for $20-$30, I think that's their golden spot. And I think I would really consider buying a PSVR because I have a PS5, I have a computer, I got the bases covered. So that would be great. So.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. If especially if you have a PS5 and a PC, and you're exactly right. The cable or adapter or whatever it is needs to be cheap or on the cheaper side, right? It can't be too expensive. And I mean, if it works like the Meta Quest, like on the Quest, because it's basically the PC that's doing all the graphical processing for the game. So the PC's playing the game. You're just it's just transmitting the visuals and everything to the headset. in VR, right? So you're playing the game in VR, but you're using a VR headset, but it's not the VR itself that's doing all the legwork. You know what I'm saying? It's the PC that's doing it. So if it works like the Quest, because like on the Quest, I can hook my MetaQuest wirelessly or wired to my PC, and I can play any PC game that's VR on it. Same way with, or I can unhook it and play, anything that's on the MetaQuest store. So yeah, I mean, if you didn't have a VR headset and you're looking for a high-end headset, because the Quest is the great headset, but it's not like super high-end, right? It's a nice headset. It's a really good headset. It's just not a high-end, like super ultra headset, right? And so this would be the cheapest offering for that. And so if you can hook it in there, and it doesn't require a PlayStation 5. I wouldn't think it would require one either, but you know how Sony is, so who knows? But if it doesn't, then yeah, I think it'll give a lot more people will think about picking up a PSVR2. I don't know if it'll increase sales that much, but I think you'll get a lot of people like yourself that are kind of looking into it and going, I have both of these things. Maybe I will pick this up, right? So
I think if the dongle is at a right price, it would definitely be much higher on my radar to pick up. The dongle is probably the most important piece of the puzzle, as long as Sony doesn't, decide to raise the price of it as well. So
because the link cable, right? Because Meta has a link cable too. Now they have other link cables that you can buy, but let's say Meta's official one, it's $80 for that link cable.
Damn, that's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot.
Yeah, so
I got one right here. It's
expensive. That didn't come with your system.
No, I had to buy it separately.
See, that's a load of dog shit. So, pardon my language, but that should have been something that comes with the system.
Well, I mean,
that's the other thing. I think Sony would start bundling the dongle.
They should. So. Like Quest doesn't have these bundled either. Still, I mean, even with the Quest 3, you don't have these bundled. Now you can play wirelessly, depending on your your wireless internet, if it's good enough. But you definitely either want the dongle, or the cable, or whatever. But I think they should be included with them as well. I agree with that.
Yeah. So. There's still a lot of questions. The biggest one is the price of the dongle, device, cord, whatever it's going to be. We need that answered before I start shelling out cash. So, but for the right dollars for the adapter, if they do it right, it's going to be a benefit, I think. I really do, because a lot of people want to get into the VR space. It's the cost of a quality VR that holds people back. I can't remember the name of the one that's really high dollar, but it's an amazing headset. It puts out the little, you got to set up the cameras and crap around, but that thing was like $1,500. MetaQuest had their Pro, whatever the hell that was, for $2,000 or something like that. And Apple had their headset, which failed because they tried to charge too damn much. So Sony has to be able to hit that sweet spot, because what holds back VR is money. But right now, I think that's the biggest holdback. But we're just got to wait and see. No, you got anything else on the virtual reality world?
Nope.
Well, all right. Okay. Well, you made it to the end of the video. We appreciate it. And I appreciate each and every one of you. But while you're here, make sure you hit the like button, the share button, the subscribe button, all the good things. But most importantly, give us your feedback. I really like feedback. We got some good feedback about Final Fantasy VIII, the best in the series. And I really appreciate that. But let us know what you think. Would you be willing to buy the PSVR 2 for your PC if the dongle is the right price? Would that be something that you think would be beneficial for as a gamer? To be able to play your PC and your PS5 on there. I personally like the idea, but they got to get me at the right price point, because I'm a cheap bastard. So, but thank you for getting to the end, and we'll see you next time. See ya.